So today we are making these beautiful and super popular pickled red onions, but we're putting our own twist on it using the art of fermentation.
Oh yeah, because we are going to make sure these are alive and full of healthy probiotics. So we'll get the goodness, plus it'll be healthy. Let's get started.
Join us on this journey to explore the world of fermentation.
If you'd like to learn how to make ferments like these, start now by clicking subscribe and hitting that bell so you don't miss a thing.
Welcome back to the Fermentation Adventure. This week we are making something that makes a seriously good condiment and that you should have in your fridge at all times. And that is sweet and tangy fermented red onions.
They're so delicious by themselves, on burgers, on rice dishes, so many other things, but even on peanut butter sandwiches.
What?
Oh yeah, peanut butter and red onion sandwiches.
I'm not so sure about this. You may have seen the very popular pickled red onion recipe by Ethan Chlebowski that has just taken the internet by storm. In there, he actually made a peanut butter and pickled red onion sandwich. And we're going to try it at the end of this video.
Because we wanted our very first time trying this to be with you guys on camera. So you're gonna get to see our reaction to see just how much we love it at the end of this video, or how much we don't love it. You'll just have to wait to find out. But no matter what, we can't wait.
So today we are making these beautiful and super popular pickled red onions, but we're putting our own twist on it using the art of fermentation.
Oh yeah, because we are going to make sure these are alive and full of healthy probiotics. So we'll get the goodness, plus it'll be healthy. Let's get started.
First, let's start with these pickled red onions that everyone has heard about.
We're gonna make just enough of the pickled red onion to fit in this wet jar today.
We're gonna start with one red onion. Beautiful compost. And you can cut it whichever way that you like, but we're gonna cut it into slivers. And you really just need enough onions to fill the jar. Since these are going to be pickled onions, we're adding vinegar to this instead of taking it through the normal fermentation process.
1 part vinegar to 1 part water. For pickled onions, you can use any type of water, even chlorinated water. The other thing is you can use any kind of vinegar you'd like. Today we're using distilled white vinegar, and we're going to combine these in a saucepan and bring it to a boil. And the next step is just a little bit of salt, really to taste.
We're gonna pour this directly over the red onions in the jar.
Whoa, they're turning pink. I'm sure that's gonna taste better than it smells. They are pretty much ready to eat right now. These pickled onions have got to cool to room temperature. So we're gonna set them aside for probably 10-15 minutes. Then we're gonna put a closed lid on it. Go ahead and put it in the refrigerator. Let it get especially tangy and sweeter, and it's gonna turn a lot pinker than this.
Next up, we're creating these same beautiful pickled red onions, but instead we're using the art of fermentation. We're making 2 recipes, traditional fermented red onions and spicy fermented red onions.
And for each of these recipes, we are going to be making a 1-quart jar.
You can use any kind of onion in this recipe, but the red onions add sweetness and it turns a beautiful red color.
1 medium-sized onion per jar.
I think these will both fit.
I'm pretty sure we have to cut them up first. So easy.
We gotta make some room for the spicy hot peppers that we're gonna put in here. You can use any kind of peppers, habaneros, jalapenos. Today we're using 2 long hot peppers. They're spicy, they're flavorful.
Pretty sure they got their name because they are very long. Sometimes they get even longer than this.
You can cut these any way you like, but today we're gonna cut them into circular rounds. I think that'll fit nicely into the jar.
Yeah.
You know, normally I'd be wearing gloves. This is gonna be pretty spicy later on.
Oh, yeah, true. Why aren't you wearing gloves? Plus, we're adding a unique flavor to our spicy fermented red onions by adding some whole cumin seeds. This is going to add some amazing flavor. But to kick up the flavor a notch, we're gonna toast these pretty little babies. Starting to smell so good. These are going to cool so quickly that we can just go ahead and put it right in the jar.
Now it's time for our fermentation magic. This is where we let the bacteria and yeast that are present on the peppers and the onions, they're gonna eat the sugars. These we want healthy and alive, so we're not using any heat at all. We're using instead a simple salt brine.
And for our salt brine, it is very important that we use non-chlorinated water. That way we don't kill any of the healthy bacteria that's in here.
In each jar, we'll need 4 teaspoons of salt and 2 cups of non-chlorinated water.
No matter what, the key is you need just enough water to make sure that everything stays below the brine.
Otherwise, you could possibly get mold. So the way we keep these below the brine is with a fermentation weight.
But in the past, we've actually used all kinds of fermentation weights, including the time we used a jelly jar when we were making hot sauce, and we wanted to keep all the hot peppers down during fermentation.
That still works just fine, but these are just a little bit nicer. They fit inside the jar.
Especially if you have a wide mouth mason jar, they fit perfectly.
As soon as you put these in, it could overflow. So leave a little space for the weight on top. Now that we have everything weighed down, we need to cover the jar. What we like to use are these fermentation lids made of silicone, so no oxygen gets in. For better results, we just love to use those.
And the green one for the hot, spicy version. I think we're ready to ferment.
I think we are. We're gonna let these ferment at room temperature. And there's a couple tips if you're new to fermentation. You wanna keep these out of direct sunlight because sunlight can kill a ferment. These are living organisms. And the second tip, an active ferment likes it just a little bit warmer. It doesn't like a cold environment. 70 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there, they're gonna be very happy.
And make sure to keep track of when you start your ferment.
So we're gonna follow these 2 jars through the fermentation process so you know what to expect when you're fermenting at home.
After 24 hours, we're already seeing the spicy red onions change color.
After 2 days, the spicy red onions are getting active and we're starting to see some bubbles. And later that night, it was so active that it started to overflow. You can avoid this by leaving at least 1 inch of headspace at the top of your jars. We remove some of the liquid, put the top back on, and continue fermenting.
After 3 days, another good sign. The brine in both jars are starting to get cloudy.
On the 4th day, there are more bubbles in the traditional red onion jar.
On the 5th day, it's beautiful. The fermentation process has started to break down the onions, which are releasing a hot pink color. In the spicy red onion jar, it looks like the pinks are being muted by the green hot peppers.
On day 6, the traditional red onions have become so vibrantly beautiful with pinks and reds, and even the spicy red onions have some pink showing through.
After 7 days, our fermented onions are ready to eat. We're going to put these in the refrigerator for 1 more week to enhance the flavor before trying them. Wow!
After 1 week of fermentation on the counter and 1 week in the fridge, just chilling, we are back to see what these look like.
And they're so different!
You can see these are very pink, and if you compare it to the really popular pickled onion recipe, they're almost identical. It just takes 1 week longer, whereas that takes
a few minutes, really.
A few minutes, but it's also dead and this is alive.
Not only are we going to try these just as they are, but we are definitely doing the peanut butter and
fermented onions.
Yeah, sandwich.
Yeah. But first, let's crack these open and see what they smell like.
Okay. Oh, it actually smells really good. I can't wait to try this. A little bit of a vinegar smell, but there's no vinegar, of course.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make my eyes water, which is nice. Actually, let's see what that one smells like compared to these. Whoa! It's very pungent.
Stings your nose. Stings your nose with the vinegar. Let's do it!
Yep.
And I have gluten-free bread for myself and regular bread for Paul. So we're gonna try the whole experience. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Have we ever had something so beautiful on the show?
I think this is the most beautiful. If only you guys could smell it as well. You're just gonna have to make this at home. It is amazing. Right before we try it, I wanna say if you guys are new here, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you here on the channel, part of the community, and that way you don't miss another new recipe.
And with that, I think we better dive in. So these are pickled red onions.
Woo, tangy.
They're very pleasant, but yeah, they hit you immediately. They're definitely very crunchy. It's really sour. So now to the fermented ones.
Here we go.
That is very good.
It's more mellow, tangy only slightly.
Really different than the pickled ones.
That's really, really good.
If you've ever made any of our other recipes, there's this deep fermented flavor that you taste when you ferment something with lacto fermentation. It's a very sharp contrast to the pickled ones.
And now we have our spicy one.
Oh,
That's spicy.
man, that cumin hits you right away too. That's good though.
That's really good. On rice dishes, I would probably prefer the spicy one with the cumin.
I have to say my favorite so far is definitely the traditional ones that are not spicy.
You ready to try this?
With peanut butter.
Let's do it!
So we're having an open-faced peanut butter and fermented red onion sandwich. Is that even possible?
It's possible. We're about to try it right now. Wow, I like it.
How about that? No way.
Oh my gosh.
I would never have guessed I would have liked this. So I guess if you think about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it's a little bit of tangy, it's kind of sweet. It's basically the same thing, except now there's a little bit of a crunch to it, which is really nice.
I might actually consider having this instead of peanut butter and jelly. I mean, think about how much healthier this is. I love it. I'm really surprised.
I think we have answered the question. Can you have red onions on a peanut butter sandwich?
Yes, you can. But of course, these onions are amazing on meals like rice dishes and burritos. These will store very well in the refrigerator. So our next step will be to put a closed lid on here, put it in the refrigerator.
They'll definitely last a long time, but I would say within 6 months, the flavor is probably the best.
Make sure that everything stays below the brine. That is the #1 rule of fermenting vegetables like this.
Yep. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into fermented onions. If you've loved this, be sure to click the like button, share this with a friend, and if you try this, you definitely have to put a comment below and tell us what you thought about these, because we thought these were amazing. What do you think?
And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Thank you so much for joining us in this journey. We love you guys, and happy fermenting!
Happy fermenting! It's really very good.